Things to avoid. I talked about jargon already. Even like with Twerk, what we do, ATS means applicant tracking software, and a lot of people aren't in the recruiter talent acquisition tech space. So I don't say ATS, I say applicant tracking software, which does this. Because even if I said applicant tracking software, they don't necessarily have the slightest idea what the hell that actually does. And if I need to save room on a slide, and there's only room for me to write ATS on a slide, I still explain it myself what it is. I talked about the word holistic before. That's just one example. Acronyms, I talked about AI. I've talked about these acronyms before, so here we are. Aggrandizing language. Oh, please avoid this. I hear this in like every pitch, and it's terrible. Investors hate this. So when you say we're revolutionizing this industry, we are disruptive. We are turning the job search industry on its head, shifting the paradigm. Like, honest to God, anybody can say that they are wonderful. Like, I can say, oh, and then like, I'm the most dedicated. You're not going to meet a team as dedicated as our team. This is a bunch of fluff and nonsense. If I talk about, hey, we ran a pilot, 20% of the people in our pilot paid for our premium features, which are this, this, and this. And that's before we even launched our beta. And it's because we offer this, this, and this, which is helping them solve this big, huge problem that they have. The investor, in their mind, they are the ones that decide whether what we're doing is revolutionary. They will decide, oh my God, Twerk is disruptive. It's not for me to tell them how they should feel about our product and how amazing it is. I want them to come to that conclusion themselves, But a lot of founders, when they pitch, they say, we're revolutionizing this space, and it is old hat, and it honestly means nothing. And it's not a powerful thing that people think it is. Saying the market is huge, the market is enormous, and they don't actually say what it is. No, like, what does it mean? If it's huge, you would have numbers, and it would show that you did your homework. So sometimes people think, well, it's obvious that the market is huge. Like for recruiters, online recruiting, LinkedIn exists, Indeed exists, everybody knows it. So I can say, the market is huge. And what I'm trying to say, oh, the market is obviously huge, but that is weak sauce. That's a weak sauce thing. So you think you're saying something strong, but you're actually saying something very weak. The strong statement is about stating facts, and it's up to the listener to decide whether that means that the market is huge or big enough for them to care about it and invest in it. Okay. So about top down versus bottom up numbers, your TAM, SAM, SOM, you've probably heard about this an awful lot. A TAM can be a global number. Okay. And if you're doing it bottoms up, you're researching, okay, here are all the potential customers that we have in the whole world who are, searching for jobs online around the world. You have the math to substantiate that. And then we know that a certain percentage are going to convert. And so that's the TAM. Then the SAM is like, okay, smaller. So like in the US, we know that number, and you arrive at it basically the same way, that it's, this number of people times this much conversion percentage is equal to this amount of money. That's bottom up. And then SOM is like, we will, the percentage of that market that you can capture and why. And so you're building the math from the ground up. Top down means that you have looked at somebody else's statistic and they say, hey, the US market is worth, it's the US online recruiting market is $12 billion per year. And so you're saying that. Now, I've heard a lot of opinions. They're very strong opinions about which is better, the bottoms up or the top down. The bottoms up really does show that you did the math. But I've heard a lot of people say, just get over it, just do the top down. It's quicker. It gives us a bigger, a clearer snapshot. It's, by some reputable source. And I've heard also people say a mix. Your TAM and your SAM should be top down. Your SOM should be bottom up. People say your TAM has to be at least $1 billion in order for VC to be interested. That's probably true. Your SOM, in order for anybody to be interested, needs to be at least $100 million ARR. And that's like in 5 years, you're going to be able to do that. But you have to show how in the world you're actually going to be able to do that. It's a very hard thing to do. So you don't want to say that your SOM is like $1 billion. Because a lot of people are not going to believe you. But, every once in a while you get a company that really can do that. But just understand you're not necessarily going to be believed. Okay. So the approach I finally took was doing TAM and SAM top down, and my SOM is bottom up, but I have all the numbers for bottom up on the TAM and SAM if people want to see it. And I have that in an appendix for people to look at. So there it is. That's my TAM, that's my SAM, and that's my SOM. So I say we can capture 1% of the market, times the adoption rate times the price. And I could have numbers there if I wanted to, and that's probably the smart way to do it. I probably should say, times 36.5% times $19.99 per month or whatever. And that's how I get to that figure. So that's, that's probably how I should do it. And I probably need to change this slide, but that's what I have. That's what it looks like. Here's my appendix where I have a whole bunch of data. You don't do this in a presentation. So when you are presenting with slides, you don't have your appendix there. I've only seen it in one pitch competition where somebody had their appendix ready to go, but they concluded they didn't show their appendix, and somebody asked a question and they straight up had something on their appendix that showed exactly what it is they were looking for. They were able to scroll to it very quickly and they won that pitch competition. They got like $25,000 or something.